overcoming our prospect fears, and we're going to go through this pretty quick because then I want to get into the script and objections, the secretarial screen. But I think that you need to understand the 3 fears of your prospect. If you know that in advance, then it's easier for you to understand why the script is written the way it is. And the good news is, you know, with outbound, we've become very high tech. The good news is that, you know, I've made a career out of it. I didn't know, you know, 40 years ago that I would be doing what I'm doing today. And I'm going to be real honest with you guys. I only have a high school education. I've never been to college because I got married when I was 17. And not because I had to, I didn't have any children. But I got married when I was 17, and really at that time I just wanted to be barefoot and pregnant the rest of my life. Really. You know, I don't know if you've heard of the Walton family way back then. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be a country bumpkin, live in the country, and have babies. I had no desire to be a career woman because my mother was a career woman, still is. She's 81 and she still works full time. And she's, you know, runs a nonprofit and she travels all over the world. And she looks very young and acts very young for her age. I'm very proud of her. She's also was vice mayor of our city and city councilwoman for 25 years. She's, you know, they named a park after my mother, so I'm very proud of her. But, you know, when I was growing up, I didn't want to be like her because she was gone all the time. She was not really a mom, stay-at-home mom. So I learned how to cook and clean and do laundry and iron when I was 10 years old. And so I took care of my 2 older brothers. I was the only girl, and I was the housewife. And so I had no desire to have a career. But then I got married, and then I graduated from high school, and I was bored. And so I decided to go into the nursing career, and then I told you that story. I couldn't do that for those that missed that because I got sicker than the patient and fainted at the sight of blood. So I could not be a nurse. So I got a telemarketing job, and I didn't know. I mean, I just got the telemarketing job because there was nothing else I was good at, you know, because I didn't have any education. So I really, you know, that was an easy job. I got hired within 2 minutes after my interview. All of the requirement was you had to have a way to work and speak English. That was it. That was the only requirement. And little did I know that I'd be here where I'm at now, where now I'm a published author. I have a number of books. McGraw-Hill is one of my publishers out of New York. And if you know McGraw-Hill, they're a huge company. They develop all the major textbooks, and you know, so I just didn't know that I would be what I'm doing now. And you know, I get paid higher than most attorneys do and doctors do. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to encourage you. I started out as a telemarketer, and it took me somewhere. And now it's taken me to where I'm at right now. Now I've got my own nonprofit organization called Restoration Life Foundation. It's one of the reasons why we're here in the Philippines, is because I'm going to help women and girls who've been sexually molested and help them get healing, inner healing, and actually take them out of their environment, provide a place for them to live, and get them an education and help get them jobs and get them on their own 2 feet. And because I was sexually molested when I was 10. And I share that story in my trainings because I've gone through a lot. You know, when I was 10 years old, my father molested me, and I was molested by other men. And so somebody like me, you would think I would be dead by now, like committed suicide or be a drug addict. But no, I fought through it, and I'm where I'm at today because I chose to be a woman of excellence. And I chose to be somebody that could help others and to love others and to be able to be a caring person and not take what happened to me to ruin the rest of my life. In fact, I recently wrote a book. It's called I'm Fat and Nobody Cares. And it's my story. And it's a story about my life and why someone struggles with weight like I do. And I used to be 100 pounds heavier than this. I don't know how many kilos that is, but that's a lot. I used to be 100 pounds heavier than I am right now. And when I finished the book, I lost 100 pounds in 6 weeks. And I keep telling people that I lost 100 pounds of unforgiveness and bitterness. And so the book is that you can get it on Amazon if you want to read my story. It's called I'm Fat and Nobody Cares. And it's really to educate people too that when you see a big person, don't judge them by how they look, because they might have trauma in their life. You know, that you don't know why they're overweight. I'm not overweight because I eat wrong or I eat too much. If you were over there, I was having a salad and a chicken breast. I'm not dieting, it's just the way I eat. And weight was caused by trauma. You know, trauma to shield yourself because you didn't want to be attractive to the opposite sex. So, you know, so I share this because I want you to know whatever you've gone through in your life, and some of you have probably gone through worse situations than I have. And so I'm not sharing this to have you feel sorry for me. Absolutely not. I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm actually very thankful that I went through what I went through, because I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. And so I want to encourage you that just because you're a telemarketer or a sales rep doesn't mean that has to end there. You know, it actually helped me, this job helped me to be able to communicate better. I was able to expand my vocabulary. I was able to meet with high executives, big, huge, top corporations, develop presentations, become an author, published author with a high school education. You know, so I figure, like, if I can do it, there's anybody else out there can do it. I'm no special person. I am just like anybody else. Probably you're more special than me because most of you have gone through college and you've had a better education than me. My education's just been street smart. It's what, you know, just learning through the ropes and through the hard knocks of life. So I want you to know that this is, you know, if you feel like you're, sometimes when I listen to phone calls, I can sense that the agent doesn't like their job. I can sense it. I can hear it in their voice that they are not happy. They don't want to be there, but they feel like that's the only thing that they can do right now because they don't want to see themselves work at Jollibee. You know, it's a Jollibee or call center, right? I mean, sometimes we think that way. I'm not saying all of you think that way, but I'm just giving you a scenario. And jobs are hard to find here. Call center jobs are not that difficult to find if you're good. If you're good at what you do, you have power. If you're good at what you do have power, because I could probably get a job out there and get paid a lot of money doing it, you know, and working for another company, but I like my independence and being able to work on my own and on my own time. So that's my choice, and that's what I've chosen to do. But this is a good starting point for you. So when you start here, you think, okay, where do I want to be 5 years from now? And think of what you can do within where you're at right now, and figure out how can I take advantage of where I'm at right now to get to this career point in my life. Maybe it has nothing to do with call center. Maybe it has something to do with owning your own business. I do a lot of surveys with people I do seminars with and ask them what they want, where they want to see themselves 5 years from now. And most of them say in their own business. How many of you want to be in your own business one day? If you want to see a show of hands. See, there's a good number of you want to be in your own business. This is a good way to be able to develop that, because communication skills are so vital in having your own business or even going higher in your level, you know, as far as your career point. So the good news is that call center is going to be around for a long time. It's not going away. It will never go away. It just gets more sophisticated, but it's not going to go away. The bad news is consumers and businesses alike are just hearing more telemarketing, more presentations. There's lots of laws that, you know, the do not call list, and there's just a lot of laws that probably you know nothing about in the U.S. that prevent, you know, call centers from being able to function properly because the laws are so tough now. Because there's a lot of bad telemarketing out there. And when I developed my training course way back when, I was years in advance, 20 years in advance of my courses than what was going on at the time. And my philosophy of sales is not being a salesperson, is being just a good customer service person. You're servicing that person. you're educating them and servicing them into something that's going to better their business. You have to kind of look at it that way. We don't, in fact, when I recruit people, I don't necessarily recruit people with sales experience, because usually they come with bad experience. They come with bad habits that are very difficult to break. I like to take somebody that's green, that has no experience, but has ability, meaning you can talk, and you can present, and you're not shy, and you can be a little outgoing. I would like to deal with somebody like that and groom them to become an excellent salesperson, you know, that can be a good service person. So there's a lot of negative, but then there's also positive. And, you know, a lot of centers focus on infrastructure and then aesthetics, and then they have, you know, support, but support is usually not the first priority. It's usually their infrastructure, like your telco provider, your computer telephony integration, CTI, who's your VoIP person, that VoIP provider, who's your dialer provider. Do you have the ergonomic chairs in the stations? I mean, so and aesthetics is the way it looks. I mean, I've gone into some call centers that were pretty bad on the inside. The aesthetics was really bad, and I think aesthetics is important. But support is really important, supporting you. You could be someone that's working from home, an at-home agent, because we have some call centers that have some at-home agents and they do really well. So they have no aesthetics other than their home. You know, they're working off their kitchen table. So the support is really important. Support of what we can do for you to help you become better at what you do. And so we want to focus on hiring the right individuals. We want to train them well and help them to have a professional presentation. And so that we don't want us to sound canned or robotic. You know, maybe their first call for the day you sound really good, and maybe by 10 calls you sound really good, but then in the midday you get really tired, you feel really bored, you feel really burned out. If you're burned out, you're doing something wrong. That's all I can tell you. Mostly burned out agents is because they're not being productive. They're not producing results. Right? Because quite frankly, if you were producing 3 or 4 sales a day, you'd be pretty excited about that, right? Excited, especially if you're getting incentive. If the company is paying you some sort of incentive for your sales, or giving you some sort of bonus or something, that excites you to make the sales, because then you feel like what you're doing is making a difference for not only the company and not only the client, but for yourself financially. So when we make a sale, it's kind of like a rush of power, right? We feel good about it. But if you're not making a sale and you go 2 or 3 days not making a sale, you're going to get burned out. So I would never, for those of the team leaders here, never let your agent go 2 or 3 days without making a sale. There's something wrong. You know, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Okay, so you can't expect different results repeating the same thing. If you're doing something and you're doing it over and over again and you're not getting better results, then change it. Find out what it is that you're doing wrong. Now that's why Michelle is here for you. And I'm here for you, and I'm here for her. If you need help, so it's very difficult for us to manage everyone, so we do expect the center to have their own internal management. You need to be listening to your agents. You need to be doing side-by-side coaching. You need to be listening to their recordings and assessing their calls. You need to sit down with the agent and let them identify what they did right, what they did wrong, what they could improve on. You need to find out who's your star performers and try to model your other agents after that. You need to be doing something different if the agents are not producing sales. Because on this account, you should be producing no less than 2 sales a day per agent. No less. Worst case scenario is 1 sale a day. And that's worst case scenario is 1 sale a day. If you're not doing at least 1 sale a day, you're doing something wrong. So let's fix it. Because it's fixable. The only time it's not fixable is 1 of 2 reasons. You have no desire to fix it, so you're not a person of excellence as far as I'm concerned. I'm just being real honest with you. If you have no desire to fix it, you're not a person of excellence and you should not be there behind that desk. You know, find another job. Or you just need to be coached on how to do it better and you just need some tools. Okay? So if you don't have the tools, ask for it, because maybe your manager is not identifying you having a problem because they're busy with other things. Well, then you know you have a problem. If you didn't make a sale today, you have a problem. You need to fix it. And if you can't fix it, you need to go to your manager and say, help me fix it. And if your manager won't do it, go to his boss and go up the chain because you need help. We don't want turnover in the call center. You've been hired, you've been trained, there's a lot of money been invested to bring you into where you're at right now. So we want to work with you. And that's what Michelle, utilize her. She and her husband also have their own call center and they do very well. Every account that I give them, they always do well. Always. They always produce. Why? I'm going to let later, not now, but Patrick promised me he was going to share. And then their top producer on EMI is going to share her tips too. But she's sitting right there, this little one right here. She's their top producer. She makes 8, 10 sales a week. Consistent. And she's not been with us that long, huh?
It's true.